our last of the kind of pre-made builds that I pre-recorded for my little summer vacation, and of course I wanted to go out with a bang. So I saved Puck's Summerdream for last because I already knew I was gonna go not only off the reservation but off the planet for this room. Because the Summerdream house is kind of so kooky and crazy, I knew that I could go as wild as I wanted to and it wouldn't look out of place necessarily. I wanted to change that carpet. I think I keep the walls, but the carpet had to go. The carpet had to go, and I had these really cool, like, they're bowling alley, arcade kind of carpet things. I was very excited about them. I almost gave him shining carpet, but I knew that was not the vibe I was going for. But so yeah, I changed the carpet. I think I put some yellow brick up as well, just to make it interesting and a little bit odd. My idea with the Summerdreams is they're obviously meant to be fairies. They're not, but they're meant to be. So I kind of treat them like fairies, and kind of along those lines, that means that while he looks like a teenager, Puck is probably a lot older than he appears. Probably closer to a couple hundred years old, just because fairies age slower in my kind of, not headcanon, but just my idea of fairies is they age slower. So yeah, I wanted to just lean into the idea that this is a very young but also very old being who has some interesting and eclectic tastes. Obviously they're fairies, they're not Sims, so their sense of style is a little bit different. I knew kind of my pre-notes for him were, you know, he has a thing for Hermia. Like, he's kind of a go-between between the Cap and Monty kids. And that was really it. Like, I didn't have a huge sense of his personality. And when I looked at his room, he had a lot of, like, antique furniture, so it was kind of almost meant to be old-fashioned, like the 4-poster bed. The nightstand's older as well. I can't see it, so I'm pretty sure it is. He had, like, candles, and then he had, you know, wardrobe, a desk, things like that. He really didn't have anything on his walls. But yeah, I quickly went a little off the rails, and I'm not mad about it. I was already kind of planning to go off the rails with the things that I had downloaded for this room. I do keep some aspects of his original room, namely the 4-poster, like, dark wood, kind of older antique-y style bed. And I also added kind of some furniture that looks like it's way older than a teenager should have, but I imagine that he got it when it was new and he's just had it forever. But this early on, I was still kind of struggling with, like, color palette, because I had downloaded more pastel-y type of things for this room originally, but that carpet is not pastel. It's not. It is primary color bonanza. So I was like, ah. But I had also downloaded a couple darker things, like that purple-looking couch. It's kind of like more of a fuchsia than a purple. So I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, if I was going to go with my original color palette and then change the walls and carpet again, or if I was going to try and just make it even more chaotic. He did have a lot of plants in his room. Like, he had 2 hanging plants and 2, like, potted plants, and so I knew we were going to go very heavy on the plants. Which makes sense. Like, he's a fairy, he probably is really interested in nature. I like the idea, I don't know if you've ever read the Mistborn series, but in the second trilogy there is a character who, he doesn't steal, he trades, but he doesn't always tell people that they're trading items. And so I like the idea that Puck doesn't steal, he borrows, and he also trades things, but he doesn't necessarily tell the people, hey, we're trading these, he just kind of does it. And I also wanted him to collect, there's these little pony figurines, they're like My Little Ponies, and so I was like, yes, he needs to have those, it's necessary. I also don't think fairies in general, like, gender isn't really a thing for them, so he's a little bit more gender neutral, kind of. I don't know, like, sometimes he wears makeup, sometimes he wears fancy underwear, like, he just doesn't really care, it doesn't make sense to him, because that's just not something that fairies, in my mind, have in their culture. Let's see, his little description was basically he's been blessed by with two loving parents and a bratty kid sister, but sometimes he still finds himself lonely. So they really were just kind of pushing the storyline of who they wanted to get with who. Which is funny, because Hermia actually likes Mercutio and Puck, but then Hermia's cousin Miranda likes Mercutio, but we don't think she actually likes him. Like, there's a lot of drama in this hood, a lot of potential. It's kind of sad that this is one of the ones that gets pushed to the wayside. Like, Pleasant View and Strangetown are like, those are the ones, so to speak. Yeah, you can see I saved that bed. It was already made up kind of thing, so I was like, yes, this is perfect, we can do this. I will say I saved Puck's room for last on purpose because I knew I wanted to go out kind of with a bang. But also just because, I don't know, I'm kind of sad this is over a little bit. Like, the main purpose of this too was just to get me to actually go and download Modern CC just for, like, you know, my Unlocking the Uberhood challenge and things like that. Like, I just didn't have a lot of CC to work with and it was bothering me. But I also just didn't want to go on a downloading spree, so by doing this, it forces me to download things, because I didn't just download things for the rooms. I basically just go on a download spree for 3 or 4 hours, and then chuck all that into my game. You can see I put a dryer there. It goes away, but my idea is that fairies get cold very, very easily, and so the idea that he would regularly go in his room, throw all his clothes in a dryer, and run them for a little bit, and then put them back on because he was cold, amused me. It doesn't stay, but you need to know that, just because I said so. But yeah, like, the main purpose of this was to get me to download things, and it is accomplished. Like, that purpose has been accomplished, but I am gonna miss it a little bit. I'm still on the no train as far as making over any other rooms, but I might, for a special occasion, I might come back and revisit this particular neighborhood. I'm not gonna delete it, so I could always come back and maybe do a small thing where I do the child age sims, or maybe some of the adult sims, something like that. It's something I could save for decorating projects later on if I'm kind of in a decorating mood. I like that I'm gonna have this neighborhood to come back to and be like, yeah, I feel like decorating something. So maybe eventually it'll be a fully decorated crazy Uberhood, but you never know. I had to cut a lot of footage out because I was struggling with the layout, like, really badly. I almost changed Bottom's room, that's how bad it was. But I found a layout that worked for me, and yeah, as you can see, he's just gonna have all kinds of craziness in this room. The snack machine made me laugh, and I was like, yeah, he probably would. He only has a tiny bookshelf, that little birdhouse looking thing, but my idea for that is it's actually like a portal to Fairyland, so he can get a lot more books than you would think. Yeah, he has like a stoplight for a light. He's got this weird rose kind of thing. Chaos was the name of the game. And especially mixing furniture types and styles, but also like the age of the furniture. You can see that old workbench is super, super old. Whereas he's also got a lot of modern things like this light. That camera does move, by the way. I realized it was pointing at the bed and I was like, oh, that's not the angle we're going for. But yeah, he's got like tiki torches and these little hollow pet things. When they're turned on, they're like a little animal. They're conversions from Sims 3. I was very excited about that. He's got an archaeology table. I feel like he's just interested in sim culture in general, which is what I was trying to convey. Like, he has all these weird collections of things. Not necessarily because they have value, he just thinks that they're interesting. And yeah, and plants. Every plant. I started off with every plant, and then I started going, you know what? I don't think he would have, like, floral arrangements. He would more have actual live plants. I probably could have cut out the plants, but I was excited about the plants. There's so many plants. So many. You can also see above, I've kind of got a collection of stuff. I wasn't sure. I tried to pick a couple different, like, categories for each sim, and I wasn't really sure yet what categories he would have. I end up going with, like, he has a category of the things that he borrowed / traded for that people don't necessarily know that happened. So, like, those road signs, the remains, because the idea of Puck stealing, like, urns because he thinks they're interesting amused me greatly. Not to be mean, like, he wanted them. And then I have, like, an odd toy pile. Those mostly go away. those would have suited, like that little dollhouse thing would have suited Bottom's room really well. And I was very tempted to just go ahead and do her room too, but I didn't. I'm just gonna grab every single one. I don't end up using every single one, but I wanted options. I probably could have just saved the plants for last, but nope, every single one. I love this set. This comes with those little animal figurine, like, pots, I guess, that I have, and they're really cool. So here's where I'm deciding, you know what, no, we're not going to put quite every single plant. It's only the ones that look like they're growing. Which, I have a lot of plants now. I don't know if you noticed from the first video to this one how much is now in my CC folder, but there's a lot here. Had to have the hanging plants. That was non-negotiable. These tiny little pots. I also end up deleting any plants that I've used in another room already, just because I have so many plants. It was not necessary to reuse anything. Hopefully I didn't reuse anything. I tried not to, but it's also hard to remember sometimes what I've chucked into different rooms. In terms of the plants, because I have a lot. I have so many now. It's great. It is fantastic. I also downloaded like this whole like floral shop set, and I'm like, well, now I want to do Florence Della Rosa's shop, and how I want to go do this, and now I'm like, no. Because by the time you guys are watching this, I actually, in theory, should have returned yesterday. But I knew I was not going to be in the mood to record anything, so I was like, I'm going to do, I think I did this one, and then there's one more that's a pre-record. And then after that, it'll be, I guess, live again for a bit, but then I'm going to be pre-recording a whole bunch of videos again because I'm getting, not major surgery, but I am getting a sinus surgery, so I'm probably not going to want to talk at all. And I'm probably not going to be very pleasant, so I'm going to pre-record a whole bunch of other videos. But in theory, I'm planning for after the 14th of September to stop with the pre-recording. Because I don't really like doing it. Like, I like to see you guys' comments, I like to interact with everybody, and it makes me sad that, and I like to share them like right away, so having to be patient throughout this process. I've shared like some little teaser images on Tumblr, but having to be patient and not immediately post these videos has been very challenging. I didn't think it would be, but it was. Because I just like to share all of the things. I also love that desk. It looks like it's like slimy, and it pleases me greatly. And the shopping continues. I kept having to kind of, like, with the other Sims, I didn't really have to look at their rooms to decide if something should even go in a pile or not, but for Puck I did, just because there was a vision, there was a specific style I was going for. I don't really know how to even describe, like, how I knew what was right and what was wrong. It was just more, I'd hold it in the room and I'd go, okay, no, that doesn't go here, or yes, this should go here. And then I also knew, at the end, not everything was going to end up making it. Like, a lot of this, I had a collection of, like, obsolete technology sort of thing. A lot of that doesn't actually end up making it into the room. But I wanted it there just in case, because I might. I also give him a lot of, like, snacks. He seems like the type to snack a lot. Another thing you're going to notice with his room is it's very, very, very squeezy, but he's a fairy. He probably doesn't walk all the time, so probably just, like, flutters over everything, so it's not a big deal to not have a clear path. I think he only attempts to have some sort of a clear path because he has guests over and they can't get in his room. They're like, can't get through the door, buddy. So yeah, the walker, that also doesn't make it in. I have a couple of them. It pleased me. He kind of is, I guess, a little bit like Groot as well. Or not Groot, oh gosh, Rocket Raccoon. Where he just kind of like says that he needs something. He doesn't really need it, he just wants it. Yeah, there's the little Into the Future remains. I was like, that's too funny. It has to stay. I don't even remember downloading those vases. Some things like I would download like a gift or like a big set because I wanted one of the things, but then I wouldn't really pay attention to what else was in there. Which is how I ended up with some things that I'm like, I don't know where that came from, but cool. It's the best way to do it. Yes, here's the little pony collection. This is very important. I wanted him to have, I just had a vision of all the little tiny ponies in a row, and I'm like, yeah, he would. He would. And why not? Why not? Who else's room is going to have a bunch of tiny little ponies? Another thing that I thought was very kind of funny was the idea that he had just like a bunch of forest animals that just roamed through his room. I actually imagine them roaming throughout the whole lot. Like, this is a safe space for animals kind of thing, because, again, my headcanon fairies are all vegetarian, so they don't eat animals. And yeah, so they just have random forest critters just wandering through their house. You'll see that I did put smoking clutter, just because, again, fairies can't, I don't see them as dying very easily, and I think that he probably saw somebody smoking and was like, that's interesting, I want to try that. Smoking is bad. I'm gonna just say that it's bad, but hey, when you're a 400-year-old fairy and you can't get cancer, and it's just a gross hobby rather than anything else. I downloaded all these too, like the Mario and Crash Bandicoot. I didn't end up using them in this space, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to like lean into the 90s nostalgia in this particular room. I already kind of did it for Miranda though, so I was like, I don't really want to go there again. Even though I didn't put a ton of that in her room, I put enough. Kirby! Yeah, I've learned to check recolors on these too, because sometimes I'll be like, why did I download that? Well, it's because of a recolor of a particular object. I'm like, oh, I wanted the recolor of that, I didn't want the original. Because sometimes people will post like, hey, I made this, but like they won't post a picture of the original item, so you forget what it looks like, or that it's going to be different. I do anyways. Had to give him a flamingo, of course. I also like the idea that Titania and Hermia both work together to kind of make sure that the things that he borrows / trades for that are really important to get back to where they actually belong. Like Hermia will go around the neighborhood and just kind of like casually ask about things, and then Titania will make them be returned. Although I imagine at this point everyone in the neighborhood knows if something goes missing, Puck probably has it. Because he's not very sneaky. Like, he likes the things. I do really like his room. Like, I didn't really go for, like, room items per se. Like, there's a scarecrow and there's signs and things, just because fairies don't really decorate their spaces that way, and this is more a sim thing, and so he does it because he was raised with Sims, but he doesn't quite have the same sense of things that he might if he was a Sim. So yeah, I wanted to try to get the big boys in terms of the plants in the room first. Anything that I knew was going to take up actual floor space is what I wanted to try to put in the room first, to see if it even fit. Because, like, that, look at that hallway. That's a one-tile hallway. That's very narrow. Also, you'll see that I have the bathtub full of plants at the foot of the bed now. Absolutely necessary. I wanted to put plants there so bad, but it just was not working. It was just too narrow, but I do keep these two on the sides. I also wanted to keep that gypsy fortune teller cabinet, which is next to the kind of bright green computer desk. Really wanted to keep it, but there was other things that needed to be in the room more. So I let it go. I was very sad about it. I love that little planter, it's so cute. I know it's chaotic, but honestly I still think it goes together in its own chaotic way. Because we've got neons, and then we've got like antique furniture, and then we've got just like things that are almost medieval looking. But it just somehow worked out. I actually don't end up cluttering this desk too much. It wasn't on purpose, that's just how it turned out. Which I'm fine with. Like, not every space needs to be chock full of stuff. I mean, it could have been. This is Puck's room, but it ended up not. That just means he has more space to put things that don't belong to him. So much of this is just me fiddling with plants. And trying to decide what plants were gonna go where. This is me pretending that I'm gonna get to keep those giant plants still. I will acknowledge it pretty shortly here that I'm like, those are not gonna fit anywhere. Yeah, this is where I finally kind of go, I can't keep the fortune teller cabinet. I was very sad about it, but I gotta use these instead, which are from Eco Lifestyle, I think? I don't know. They're a Sims 4 conversion. I know that. I mixed them all up though, I don't know what's what. I do end up removing the bathroom door because there's an entrance to it in the hallway. It just was in the way, and it was like really awkward, and it was ruining my vibe. It needed to go away. I kept having to like bring up piles of things and look at them just because his room, there's so many plants and his room is so squeezy and weird, it was difficult. Little cactus. And then I was kind of starting to make piles near surfaces I knew that would have more on them. But I also wanted to go and check out my other piles. So my food pile, he absolutely has a slushie machine, because it made me laugh, mostly. And he also has this little candy machine. I still wanted him to have a camera, even though I had deleted the big one. He doesn't really have hobbies like the other teens do, but I think his hobby is just collecting weird stuff and growing plants, like, let's be honest. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, he just collects things that he likes, and I think he likes those old style cameras. This is me kind of editing a little bit, going, okay, what can go away? What's going to actually be able to go inside this room, and what needs to just vamoose? It's kind of overwhelming, though, the amount of things that I actually ended up downloading for this space, and what I was able to actually use. There are some conversions from Alice Madness, so if you're freaked out by weird looking things, just know that. There's a weird little rabbit robot looking thing, there's that flamingo. Okay, so here's where I delete the door, because I wanted him to have this ATM so bad. I know it's like a criminal career reward, but again, in my head, he borrows things or trades for them, and he really, 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 really wanted it, so he has a stolen ATM in his room. It pleases me. This room is so chaotic. I decorated it last night, so I didn't really realize just how chaotic I went. It was very late. I'm not mad at it though. Like, I think it works. I don't know how it works because like the combination of colors in this room is kind of a lot, but it does. I think it does. I wanted those in the room, but they weren't. They're too low. Yeah, at this point I had like the nature pile, I had a little bit of a toy pile. Alright, so here we're gonna see the full room now. Go from wood paneling to... yeah. Also, apologies for it being dark. The slot starts at nighttime, so I didn't realize it was dark, but I hope it's lit up enough. I like the little nods to the play as well. Like, I've got the little pan flute, I've got the little donkey on his archaeology table, just tiny things, but yeah, so definitely let me know what you think. I had a lot of fun with this room. I think as an ending room, it's probably the best choice I could have made. Definitely let me know what you guys do with your fairies, by the way, and what you do with Puck too. I'm curious. I want to know what you guys do with your premades. Feels like I don't get to talk about them enough, and I really, really want to, but yeah, this is it. So I will be back soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.